Our lives are often seen as life being a burden, a heavy burden. And at times it feels that way, and at times it doesn't. But I think when we're being honest with ourselves, we have to admit it is a burden. We have a body, we have senses, we have to take care of it. So where does this burden aspect of our experience come from? It comes from the impressions of our perceptions. So I've coined this phrase recently about it's best not to be impressed. This is what I'm talking about. It's another way of saying non-attachment. When we all experience each other as just being ordinary human beings, and we're not judging, and we're not putting each other in categories, and this person's smart, this person's dumb, this has something I want, this person doesn't. Those desires that we perpetuate based on our perceptions, which are skewed. They are not real in the sense of seeing things as they actually are. When we're really being honest with ourselves, we can see the inequities in society, in life. Life isn't fair. No matter how much we would like it to be, it isn't. Sometimes there's no answer to why something is the way it is. Although we create answers, we create situations where we can define how things are. Now, in our ordinary lives, the part that has no beginning and no end is what in the Heart Sutra, Kuan Yin or Avalokitesvara is talking about when he says it's neither old age, sickness, and death, and it is forever, always old age and sickness and death. How is this contradiction? How do we come to terms with that? What part does love play in our lives? And I mean it from a universal sense, not from the personal sense of I love you as long as you're doing what I want you to do. But the love that has no attachment, no expectation. It's just a presence. It's often referred to as light, letting the light in. Because it doesn't have any way that you can grab onto it and call it yours. It's a universal experience of compassion, understanding, wisdom, and it's something that is always there when we let go of our impressions. When we're impressed by something or someone, either it's because of some sense of lack that we don't have what they have, or we would like to have what they have, or we can learn something from them because they're the expert. So we're all unique. We all have wonderful attributes and things to contribute. And our life experience is unique, yet we're all the same. And we're all the same in this level of equity that I'm talking about, which is transcendent. It is what's referred to as nirvana. It transcends this burden of life. This is what Buddha talked about when he talked about, life is suffering. There's a way to understand what this suffering is. you can end this suffering, and there is nirvana or transcendence. Our lives always are cracking or breaking apart because all the things that we expect to stay the same never do. Everything is always changing. I'm about to lose my cat. She's moving on. And she's been a wonderful contribution to my life, and I think I have been to hers. But she's on her last, I don't know, moments, day, whatever. It's hard to say at this point, but as I've been going through my grieving process about that, and my attachment to this animal, and this has always happened for me with every loss. There has always been this crack with the light coming through. And when we stop being so clingy to the way we perceive things, and we open up, and what we refer to in our practice is don't know, just don't assume you know, then the light can come through those cracks. And that's just a hint of what this Heart Sutra that we recite every week is telling us when it says form is emptiness and emptiness is form. So what dies, right? It's our impressions. They eventually go away. We have memories, yes. We can think about this person or thing or situation that we had at one point and don't have anymore. But we really have it because nothing ever disappears, actually. It just changes. It's always changing. But what holds it all together for me is what the Bodhisattva of compassion is trying to show us. There's all this chanting that's done. In Korean, it's Kwansan Boso, which just means, the Bodhisattva of compassion. And often someone will recite it over and over again when they're going through something that they're having a hard time, they're burdened, and they can't let go of the burden. So they repeat this over and over again to help them understand that this transcendence, this everything is always moving and changing. Interesting thing with our pets, and most of you probably have pets or have had pets, they bring this love aspect of our being out because there's nothing there that gets in the way like ego, usually, Not that animals don't have ego, not that they're not a pain in the ass like humans are, they are, but they're so loving. And so are we when we allow that aspect of our being to be present in every situation. Total strangers just having a moment. There's something that happens there. And I think that's important in our lives to do that, to recognize each other, just hello in there, just say hello in there with a smile or a greeting or whatever. Honestly, straightforwardly, not, preoccupied with your drama, but actually being there. And this is what we do in our Zen practice. Our Zen practice is about being here, right now, in this moment, just the way it is. And if that means being with your dying pet, that's what it is. Right here in this moment, that's what it is. And there's a great beauty in that. It's transcendent, just being present. Buddha, when you sit in Zazen, when you sit down and meditate, that's Buddha. Why? Because we really are Buddha already. We just don't see it, don't know it because of all this perceptions and impressions that we have. So there.
I wanted to ask you this. So I had a thought last night. We got together with the neighbors, and we have some neighbors on our street, and the kids are the same age, and it feels very, very nice. Me and my wife really like hanging out. This 3 different families, right? So I was walking over there last night. Took the girls home, and I was walking back. I was having a drink, and I was walking down the street, and I was just like, this is wonderful. This is just a wonderful moment. And then I was thinking about what you just said today, no old age and death, and then no end of old age and death. And then as I was walking, I was thinking like, oh man, I'm healthy, feeling good, everything's in its right place right now. But then that could change. And this is like like a 60-second walk. I had this thought. So I thought to myself when you said that today, so you say like there's no old age and death, which means at this moment, there's no old age and death. But there's no end to old age and death because it's always a potential, the next step, like the next move, right? Is that kind of how it's like when it's
well, that's certainly one way to look at it. Yeah. You're here now, but you got it sitting on your shoulder.
Exactly.
Yeah. But it's not to live in fear.
Right. No, because technically speaking, if it's
because
living and dying, it's always living.
Yes.
You need living to die.
Yeah. So it's the circle. Just
hold your breath while you come back on the other side.
Yeah. So Chungan Sunim, who's been here a number of times, he often talked about his next lifetime. Mm-hmm. So he was already planning on it, what was going to happen in his next lifetime. But it was more than just a habitual kind of way of looking at the world. He was actually really planning. This next lifetime I'm going to have it better. And that got me thinking, because I never think about that. Right? It's sort of like going for that walk, and I was doing a similar kind of walk, and I was thinking, geez, maybe I should be thinking about my next lifetime too. What's that going to be like? But I don't think about it, because the way I look at things is, right here, right now. That's all that matters, actually.
He's thinking about his next lifetime.
Well, or he brings it up, and I don't know whether he does it as a teaching tool, or just these kind of like old age, sickness, and death, and there's no end to it.
Right.
It's like, be aware of this, buddy. He could be kind of telling me, hey, you think you're fine right now, but are you going to be a dog in your next lifetime, or a worm, or a snake, or what are you going to be? I could be a fox, maybe.
Could you speak to that a little bit? Because in my readings and trying to kind of just pondering Buddhism, that there's lots of different versions or perspectives on it, and when you talk about continuance of life, depending on which kind of division or which sex you're kind of looking at. Some is very literal, and it is very much that there is an organized self that continues, and then others are matter is always changing. It's not really an organized self. So the idea of what you are going to be in your afterlife is would not be in some conversations, because there is no self, because it's divided.
Yes.
Whereas other beliefs are very concrete, and there is a sense of self that continues.
Yeah. So I try not to get caught up in dogma beliefs and ideologies. So even, Buddhism has become kind of a religion, right? And so it's worshipped in a way as a kind of a religion. In a lot of cultures, it's used to, like religion is, to make people feel more comfortable, to, keep it going, all the rest. But for me, if you're asking me about reincarnation, I would say reincarnation is happening all the time, right in this moment, right now, because you are not the same person you were 10 minutes ago. You've already been reincarnated. So depending on how you think, how you act, and what you do defines what your next life in the next moment is going to be. So that continues. So I have no judgment or idea or don't know about what happens after this body, this particular body goes. I just know that I'm not this body. That this is part of this experience, but this is not who I am. I know that, but I don't know what's next. But I do know that everything is always changing, as you say, and I want to live there. So Zen, I think for the most part, is like that. Some of the traditional schools taught reincarnation in a way to get you to live a better life now.
Right.
So it's kind of like
many religions do.
That's right. So it's well-intentioned and it has a purpose. But again, it's best not to be impressed. So authority figures always, I'm a rebel. So when an authority starts telling me where things are at, I'm immediately questioning it. I think that's healthy. Yeah. Is that a good enough answer?
No.
Stick.
I always think I think about, wondering what comes next, because it's the desire, it's the unknown.
Yeah.
But when I start to fixate on that, I think to myself, like, you don't give a shit about where you came from before, about where I came from before. You're here, and then I'm worried about what's next. It's like, so why do I worry so much about that when I'm not at all concerned about what came before me? That huge divide, technical nothingness. That one bothers me, but that one doesn't. And that made me, technically.
Yeah. So another aspect of our practice is what has been called big mind. So if everything is mind, here's Michael, that's one mind, this definition of Michael. But that's not who Michael is. Michael is big mind. Mm-hmm. Michael has to drop Michael and see big mind. That's illumination, enlightenment, whatever you want to call it. That's transcendence. Identification with name, form, label. That's small mind.
Sense of fear.
Can be based on fear, yeah. But, we say that our practice is about getting to know ourselves. So getting to know ourselves, once we get past a lot of our stuff, we start to really recognize what's in our backpack, what we're carrying around with us and burdening our lives with. We see our history, we see all of that, and we kind of understand how we got to this moment right now. Now we can make choices that are different because we're not making our choices based on what's in our backpack anymore. So another subject in Buddhism is karma. So this brings up karma. So now what? What is so karma does not define your future life if you know your karma and you're changing it. If you're a hungry ghost,
Gotcha.
Then you're a hungry ghost. But if you know you're a hungry ghost, now you're no longer a hungry ghost. It's like what I say about dreaming. We're all dreaming. But if you're lucid dreaming, you're dreaming. That's not the same as dreaming and being fearful of the monsters that you're creating in your mind, or the sensual, sexual, weirdness going over there, or the being chased down an alley, or the bears that are always attacking you in your sleep, or whatever it is that you've created in your mind to deal with your issues. Once you see all that, then you can change it. It's like you can go, oh, well, there's that again. There's that again. There's that habitual energy that I've created for myself through how I think about myself and my world. And it keeps coming back until I change it. So, yeah, you can change things by how you look at things. But it takes this practice. I mean, how are you going to do it? I mean, some people don't need to practice really. There's some small group of people who have already got it. They just have it and they know themselves and their lives are working. There's some, I don't know, maybe Einstein was like that. Who knows? There were great beings all the time who maybe they had past lives, maybe they didn't. I don't care. The point is, their contribution seems to be coming from a place that transcends, you see, these wonderful, great ideas that change humanity. They're transcending. They're not seeing things from the same box. That's why we say approach life as don't know. If you don't know, then you have beginner's mind and you're open to possibilities that you were not open to before. If you cling to an ideology, you're stuck. Simple as that. Ignorance.
Great perspective.
Thank you. We got to bring an end to this eventually, Michael. I know you could think of something else. Well, I'm really glad you're here. It's good to see you. Yeah, and everyone else too. Thanks for coming. Thank you. Anything else before we close?
I would like to mention the concept of bittersweet.
Oh,
I think the experience that you're having with your cat is
yes,
bittersweet.
it sure is.
And I came across that word in the last couple of days, and I thought, yeah, bittersweet.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Yeah. All right.